I am in my basement office area, whatever. Ignore that shit. This is a very thrown together sort of setup for now. I want to get this video made because I want to talk about this show that I found. So a few months back, as I did what I normally do with just my ADHD brain when I'm really trying to just shirk any of my responsibilities of school or work, I'm just scrolling on YouTube and I refresh until the recommended gives me something for me to latch on to. And I saw an ABC News clip.
Now, we've all heard of the pitfalls of extreme diets and wacky workouts, but what you're about to see is a masterclass in yo-yo dieting.
You gained 61 pounds.
Right. 184 to 245.
You now finally understand what it's like to be the fat guy.
I was in a very, very dark place for most of that 120 days.
With this, a bit of this, a lot of this,
You don't have to start off killing it.
and not too much of this, Ray lost a whopping 147 pounds in just 5 months.
Right? I feel like I'm more well-rounded and I come from a place of love rather than a place of judgment.
Haven't you done yourself lasting damage?
Oh, man, I don't know. Besides the few stretch marks I have on my hips, that's the only thing that I'm still carrying from this little adventure.
You wear them with pride.
I wear them with pride. I love those stretch marks.
And it was over. After I watched that clip, my recommended was absolutely flooded with clips from this show called Fit to Fat to Fit. It was enough where I was like, okay, I'm just going to buy this show on YouTube. And here's a quick overview of the show. Fit to Fat to Fit is a show where a personal trainer attempts to put on as much weight as possible before losing that weight alongside their overweight client. Drew Manning, a personal trainer and the creator of the show, gained 75 pounds and then lost it in an attempt to learn the struggles of his heavier clients. When he did this in 2011, he got a decent amount of media attention for it. He even appeared on an episode of The Jay Leno Show. And if this concept sounds familiar at all, that's because there was a similar documentary made about Paul P.J. James, who was a model and trainer who did something similar back in 2009. You know, there's a whole documentary about it. It's actually available for free on YouTube. I personally haven't watched it yet, but from what little I've read about it, there's some differences that I think I want to watch that and kind of dive into that at some point. This is a pretty simple concept, and at face value, it seems like it could be a worthwhile method for a person who's never been overweight to maybe walk a mile in the shoes of someone who's obese or who's overweight and just struggles with weight loss. But the show definitely misses that mark pretty heavily. And there's a number of reasons for that. We'll kind of delve into that. Fit to Fat to Fit describes itself as a two-part experiment. Personal trainer gains weight and stops exercising, and then the personal trainer and the client lose weight together. But the episode will normally begin with a preview of what's to come in the episode, and it's an early example of what's wrong with the show, in my opinion. The show is trying to hook us right now. This is every TV show does this. All you're seeing is clips of the personal trainer just stuffing their face and just basically in misery. And it's just all the negative aspects of them being overweight or being obese or being fat. And it's saying this is blank participating in an experiment to learn what it's like to be fat. And that is the earliest sort of marker of just how this show, it tries to show empathy towards fat people. It doesn't feel genuine at all. You can feel that right in the first minute that you're watching the show. It just seems like a gross oversimplification of a very complex issue. After we get that sort of little mini look into the episode it's very weird because it's previewing something that's only 10 minutes of the entire episode. And they're kind of pushing that as the most interesting part of the episode, it almost feels like. Or it's the thing that's going to keep you watching. After that, then we get our formal introduction to the trainers. We have JJ, Steve, aka what the fuck is that vein, Adonis, Alex, Corey, Katie, Fallon, Seth, Trammell. Oh, that's it. I wrote something here and I'm stupid. So we get introduced to the trainers a bit. They kind of delve into their history or their, like, just, you know, we get our little bit of an introduction, a video introduction to the client from the trainer's perspective, like their video introducing them to their new client. Our list of clients are Ray, Tasha, Alyssa, Jeff, Rayla, Kenley, JD, Dave, and then the final episode actually had two clients, Johnny and Jason, a couple. In these introduction parts with the clients, we always hear from loved ones, friends, and we kind of hear like their reasonings for why they want to lose weight, get in better shape, etc. Normally we get a little bit of a peek into their lifestyle, which they always... None of these people seem to describe themselves as in any way healthy. I always feel like they kind of play up how poor their health and nutrition is. After this point, they really try to make this conflict between the client and the trainer for some reason. Because the whole point of the show is they want you to think that these trainers have no idea the plights of someone who's obese, overweight, fat. They want you to, even though their whole livelihood is around helping people be in shape, lose weight, and stuff like that. So you hear them say, like, some of the trainers say some really awful things, in my opinion. Like, some things I would never want to hear from a personal trainer who's going to be training anyone.
Obese people do lack discipline. It frustrates me because it's extremely selfish. It's irresponsible to be obese.
Seeing an overweight person in a tank top or an overweight person with their legs out, that's what disgusts me about fat people. I think you should put on a sweatshirt. I think you should knock out some push-ups and come back next summer looking right.
Many overweight individuals, they're not willing to take care of themselves. They love to play the victim and like being absorbed in their problems.
And then the clients will usually say something like the reverse end of that.
The whole trainer thing, it's just kind of uncomfortable to have someone standing there in judgment going like, come on, fatty, do another push-up. You'll look like me, I swear, honest. It's gonna be great.
Most trainers don't understand in working out. It's not the fact that we don't want to do it, it's the fact that it really hurts to do it. I feel like I'm being judged. Like, how could she let herself go? I don't feel like being judged. I don't feel like being looked at. I would rather just stay in my comfort zone until I get it fixed.
Oh, eat less and work out. Wow, why didn't I think of that? It is a little insulting. I doubt a trainer would really understand that emotional pull that food has on me.
People do kind of make it sound easier than it is. Losing weight, getting healthy, eating better, it is completely person to person. The struggle is different for everyone, and trying to boil it down to the same process for every single person just doesn't work. Obviously, you can employ similar tactics to different people. Weight loss is a different journey for every single person. They build up this tension and everything, like up until they're going to meet, and then it boils down to nothing. They meet, they hug, they have like a good interaction.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
You must
How are
be
you?
Carrie?
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm Kenley.
Hi.
Come on in.
Great. My 2015 is going to look a little different than you might expect.
It feels very out of context, and for the show, you know, they're interviewing them, so they're probably doing multiple interviews throughout the whole process, asking them loads of questions over, you know, probably an hour or something, so that they have a large amount of clips and everything to take from to put into the show. So I'm assuming some of these are out of context, and we don't know the context of the questions they're being asked exactly. They have a bit of a heart-to-heart at this point, maybe go through the client's kitchen a bit. The trainers make some wild statements, like...
Go ahead and go through this cabinet, is that right? All right. Oh my God. This is the biggest tub of sugar I've ever seen. This is no different than a bag of crack cocaine. This sugar is equally as addictive as a drug would be. Not to sound crazy, because I'm a little crazy, it's worse for you. Okay. I would like not only for you, but for everybody in this house, like, this is unacceptable.
And just more stuff. It just, you know, it's television. They play it up a little bit, but my goodness. But then we get the emotional reveal that the trainer will be gaining X amount of weight. It's normally about a third of their body weight, which in 4 months is ridiculous. The general reaction of this from the client is they're excited to have such a dedicated trainer who's willing to do something like this for them.
For the next couple of months, I'm going to try to gain 40% of my body weight, and then we're gonna lose it together.
You're gonna gain what? You're gaining this weight for me.
So then we can lose it together.
Nobody's just gonna go and sacrifice themselves and do that in their body just to help somebody else out.
The undertaking that these trainers are committing to is extreme, and it does show a high level of commitment, but I feel like that commitment is complicated, and it's not as, as black and white as they're kind of putting it out here. After this introduction with the client, we immediately go into probably my least favorite part of these episodes. The name I have for this section of the video is "The sound team assaults my ears with eating noises until I scream are safe word, but they continue anyways."
Calories.
This segment always starts out with a meal of epic proportions, overindulgence to the max.
The challenge is to eat one thing from every cart. I'm gonna eat 5 meals right now.
All right, we got a challenge here for you.
Wait, that's one piece?
That's one.
That's the bear burger.
There's no way.
And then there's the Big Mac.
The trainers are having a good time. Some seem to get through it okay. But most of them kind of hit walls and have issues while eating this meal.
Yeah, buddy!
This experiment is without a doubt harder than I thought it would be.
The way the show frames the eating is really done poorly. I would almost say that this first epic meal sort of thing would be like they just do it at the start and then it sort of stops happening. But you just see them for 4 months straight never really let up with how much food is in front of them. They're just and it's because of this extreme weight goal that they're putting in front of themselves. Some of these people wanting to gain 75 pounds in 4 months. It's ridiculous. They frame it and then they frame that as if that is how their clients are eating on a day-to-day basis. And it's just insulting. Especially when they keep this up for 4 months straight. They eat this ridiculously. Like, you have Steve, who at his first meal is vomiting, who at his final weigh-in is vomiting.
I'm throwing up. 225. £3. Throwing up. That cost me some weight. It's all in the trash can right now.
Most people are not eating themselves to vomiting every day. I don't know about you, but when I was overweight, I was not just stuffing my face 24/7 or eating until I felt sick all the time. They never lived a normal day as someone who was fat. Fat people don't just think about food all the time. Realistically, I think about food more now than I ever did when I was heavier. I actively think about food a lot of my day now. I think not thinking about food is more detrimental to someone than anything. When you're not thinking about the food you're eating, that's when you run into issues where you're eating less nutritious things, higher calorie things, drinking things with calories in it. And that's where you start to get into these issues with food, in my opinion. I think the whole framing of food in the show is done poorly. That's the other thing. These people are, every single episode nearly, except for, I think, 2 of them, every single trainer is basically force feeding up until the end, except for one of the trainers who had to end that part of the experiment early because of how many issues they were running into because of this overconsumption. And then as soon as their final weigh-in is done and they start the next part, they immediately switch back to their healthy lifestyle and healthy eating and everything. It's They never live a normal day in this sort of lifestyle. It's this overconsumption mindset that doesn't line up with anyone. On the weigh-in day, they do reveal the trainer to the client because that's also like normally the first day of the second part of the experiment, and that reveal normally goes how you would think it does, like, oh wow, you're fat now, blah blah blah. Wow, where'd this roll come from? Oh my goodness, you have a butt now. Stupid shit like that. But normally then they weigh in the client, get a baseline and everything, get measurements and stuff like that. Which I'm going to say, another issue I found with the show is they don't really talk about, because you can have good progress other than weight loss, obviously, when you're looking to get healthier and like, build muscle or something like that. So you can like lose like, inches on your waist or something like that. That could be a goal you have. And in only one episode do they ever bring that up, and it's because the client doesn't actually lose very much weight over the 4-month period of time. So after we get that weigh-in with the client and everything, either that same day or the next day, we'll get the first workout from the client and the trainer. They always film this one. It's always filmed from start to finish for the most part. So this is the only workout we're going to see really from start to finish. These initial workouts are always far too extreme for someone who's new to working out, in my opinion. The first thing you might ask is like, Hunter, these people are professionals. They wouldn't push their clients too hard because the cameras are rolling, right? But I would like to reference a clip I found as I was doing research for this video. The trainer Fallon's YouTube channel. She posted a video, and let me just play this clip for you real quick.
I wouldn't have let the show push me so much into the style of training. I think for TV, they wanted to see a lot of high intensity training, which we did some with JD.
So yeah, I'm not gonna. Well, no, yeah, I am gonna just say that the trainers absolutely let the show endanger their clients. If a trainer admits later on that they wouldn't push their client as hard because the cameras were rolling, it just seems ridiculous to me. Like, you should not let even a TV show change your training mentality with a client, especially an overweight client who is also under the pressure of the TV show to like not quit. These people could have really gotten hurt. Another side note about something else she mentioned, she also said she would go back and request a psychologist be on staff, which is a little insane to me that there wasn't one on staff anyways. Absolute craziness in this show when it comes to the changes that these people are undergoing, like with their weight and their everything. Like, when you change your diet this much, it's going to really affect your hormone balances and everything, which is going to affect your mood. And it's something that you probably want to talk with a psychologist about. And the fact that they were not offered a psychologist is crazy to me. They were monitored by doctors during this process for, health reasons. I would imagine they kept a psychologist off of staff because the turmoil in reality, it was content for the show. Their suffering on camera was the content of the early part of the show. And it's just ridiculous to me. It sort of makes sense because then the suffering of the fat people in the initial workout is also fodder for this show.
Welcome to your fight or flight workout. 1 lap around the track, to the stairs without any rest. There, no rest, you're gonna come down to the field, bear crawls. As soon as you get back to this tire, no rest, you're gonna flip the 200-pound tire 100 yards. How many times have you said, next Monday? I'm gonna start next month, and I'm gonna get healthy. For how many years have you said that? Well, we're about to find out what type of man Ray is. Don't come down. Do not come down. Come on.
Like, I'm I'm not going to play dumb here. This is how TV and even YouTube works. This is why you have people nearly dying for vlog content on YouTube even. Like, it really just shows you that the show is faking its message, especially with how strange its message is at all. Can a fit person just never understand a fat person without stuffing their face? What kind of message is that? The comments these trainers say about, like, I already mentioned this earlier, but the comments these trainers say about the people they supposedly want to help would just never want me to work with these people if I was someone who was overweight, and I would never suggest them to someone who was overweight or obese or even was in shape. I would never want to work with these people. But I will say I really do not trust the framing of this show, and I really don't trust the producers of this show. So I'd like to give the trainers and the clients a bit of, like, you know, benefit of the doubt was what I was trying to think of here. Drew says at the start of every episode that going back to fit from fat was the hardest thing that he ever did. And let's just say that's the truth for him because that was his experience. When you watch the second half of these episodes, they're framing it as if the trainer and the client are struggling together, but none of the trainers have major issues getting back to fit. It feels like they realized in like the editing process that if they did split the focus during this part, the show would be like too majorly about just the personal trainers than the clients. And then the graduation portion of the show at the very end with the client would have a much weaker effect on the viewer. Problem is now, except for during the first one, maybe 2 workouts, that will be the extent of the struggles you're going to see out of the trainers. And you might see some like food craving issues, and like that I only noticed that with 2 of the trainers.
And I'm even gonna go as far as to put the Pop-Tart in the oven.
We get to watch 2 months of the trainers and clients work together, see some of the client struggles and how they work as a team to work through them, how they talk it out and all that stuff. But then they just skip the final 2 months of the project right to graduation. You can probably guess that this is for the transformation effect. They want you to be surprised by the amount of work and dedication and the results of that the client got out of working with the personal trainer. And right before the graduation segment, we always kind of get this comeback to the trainer, and like they have returned to their like beginning spot. Like almost every single trainer returns to their starting weight or less weight. Some of them don't quite hit their starting weight, but like they're in just as good shape or better sometimes. They're talking about all these things they learned and everything. But like in the point of the show is supposed to be for the fit person to gain an understanding of the fat person. And that kind of makes the show where the client ends up being a tool of the trainer to learn. In reality, what does the trainer really learn? They feel winded for the first time in their life. They certainly did not learn to live the life of a fat person. They learned to live this weird stereotyped life of a fat person. They stereotype the life of a fat person as a literal 24/7 face stuffing. Anything these people garnered during this experiment could have been learned without exploiting someone like this.
I know what it's like to be fat. I know what it takes to lose it. But if I could do it, you could do it. So let's go to work.
No, you have proved nothing to me by doing this, honestly. With the recent re-uploads of the Fit to Fat to Fit episodes for free to watch, and Drew Manning doing a second attempt at the Fit to Fat to Fit sort of journey, there's been some amount of buzz for a potential, like, another season. There was a second season of this show that did get canceled. Obviously, this is just things I've seen online from doing research about this, but God, I hope that doesn't happen. Final thoughts, you can certainly get the good, like, head feels from this show. If you just don't think about it. Like, you can celebrate the process of the client and everything, like that they did something good for themselves. When you really start to think about the process, it feels like too much anguish for what amounts to fake empathy and a warped view on health. a lot of what they did in the show just feels like archaic in the mindset of it. Like, you have to work hard for what you want, but the framing of a TV show, like anything, you know, the 4 months to lose 100 pounds, 75 pounds, or whatever it may be, it's just unrealistic and unhealthy. Those are, if you look up, hey, I want to lose 100 pounds in 6 months, that's not healthy. That is too much weight to be losing in that amount of time, and no one would suggest you to lose that amount of weight in that much time. This show, they had some clients who wanted to lose 100 pounds in 4 months. And just TV in general plays with extremes, and it's just unhealthy. And like I said, you can certainly celebrate the accomplishments of the clients. Like, they worked hard to accomplish their goals of becoming healthier, which is the overall motive of the show. I wish the overall motive of the show was just the health aspect more than, you know, number go down. This show feels like, even though it was made in 2016, the amount of positive, like, comments and, like, upvote downvote ratios it has on YouTube is kind of just shows a warped view of how people should be viewing fat people and health and everything, in my opinion. I would definitely be interested to learn more about how this show was, you know, filmed, like maybe like some of the, like, if there was more rules and regulations and stuff that they had to go through. So, like, if there was anyone who was a client or who was a personal trainer on the show, hey, I'd be down to do like a Zoom interview or something like that. You know, I'll leave my email. You can reach out to me. Maybe we can set something up. If anyone watches this video, we'll see. But hey, if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to be making more stuff like this. Thanks. Goodbye. Do a position more than anything. This cat is... look at... Ugh.